Found the net. Goal for Wednesday.
Terrific goal by Shayna.
Chris Waddle, is he going to have a crack?
Oh, he does, and he scores. Still Glenn Wheeler. Wednesday. Is there time for a winner?
It's the international break, a good chance for the players to rest and recover. For us, we've had protests in London, 157th anniversary, although the club don't really like to acknowledge that. We've also had claims, reports and or rumours that a deal is to be reached to sell the club within weeks, 2 weeks to be exact. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Tie-Dye Podcast. I'm James Mappin, and as ever, I'm joined by Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, please tell me you're still wearing those tuxedo trousers this evening.
Yeah, no, that was just an absolute shocker. For context for everybody listening, obviously, I started a new job on Monday. Tuesday was training days and kind of getting your feet under the table, or in my case, kind of like getting to grips with everything, because I had a year group coming in on Thursday. We had year 7 in on Wednesday, and that was the first full like suited and booted day and all the rest of it. And I stood on late duty and was like, I brushed kind of like the side of my leg with my hand and went, "What on earth are these?" Looked down, had a nice little pinstripe lapel down the side of it, like little bit of material that stuck out, which was from a tuxedo that was bought for me for a mate's wedding. So yeah, looked. Hey, to be fair, best dressed was one on Wednesday. I'm not gonna lie, mate.
Matt, it's only downhill from there, and do you know what I mean? It's but no, when you sent me the picture, I must admit I did have a little chuckle to myself
because they're not even like, you can't even like mistake them as just, oh, it's a normal suit trouser, can you? They are very clearly like, that's a tux.
Yeah, it's like shiny black material on the side. So tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be. Anyway, if you're watching this live, then first of all, thank you very much for doing so. But please do get in the comments. Let us know what you did this weekend with the absence of football. Well, certainly in a Sheffield Wednesday sense, at least. I mean, did you go and watch another different game? Did you get your fix elsewhere? Do let us know in the comments. I'll read a few of them out in a second. Matt, what did you get up to this weekend? Let me guess. You either played golf or your lad asked you to buy some more Lego.
Yeah, both of those boxes ticked. Saturday morning played in a golf comp. We'll not talk about where the team finished, but I did win 50 quid for closest to the pin, which was a huge, nice little.
50 quid for nearest the pin. Jesus Christ, an absolute baller as in your
mate, the prizes for the winner was £1,000 split between the team.
Rory McIlroy just won this weekend. I don't think he even got that much money for winning the Irish Open. So
I know, and we were absolutely nowhere near winning it, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, £50 pro shop credit. I'll buy something with that for sure. So yeah, it was all right. And then Lego. So I made a promise to my lad that if he had a good first week in year 1, that we would go and get some Lego. So we've been building Jurassic World Lego this weekend. I can't wait for football.
Get in. Yeah, I was playing football with my lad this morning. I took him to the park, and then one of his mates were there with his dad, and then it just turned into a bit of a crossbar challenge between my dad and his dad. Sod the kids. They're not playing with any ball. They're crying in the corner. We're playing crossbar challenge. I'll using muscles I've not used for a while, so I think I'll be aching tomorrow at some point. It'll be like I've had about 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. So yeah, and then had a barbecue with the mum and dad and the parents and everything. It was do you know what as well? It was lovely weather yesterday. Yeah. It was all right this morning. 2:00, pissing it down. Yeah, like literally, you cannot. It's like they know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the weather gods know you're having a barbecue, right? The weather is going to be absolutely shite, but we're going to have it really nice in the lead up to it, just to give a false sense of security. And then it's going to rain. But no, it was all good. Right, let's get into kind of football stuff before we get into the Wednesday stuff. Bailey Cadamarchi made his debut for Jamaica at the weekend, which was all good. Couldn't quite get, but there's a couple of things. Jamaica were playing Bermuda at Bermuda, and as it came on, all I could think of was the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, where is it? Yeah.
Where is it? It's just off the pitch to the right hand side. Nice pink one on the talk about leaning into like the stereotype of your country. Like there's no more you can do than that. But no, Bailey. The other thing I couldn't get past was the pronunciation. So it was American commentary. It was on live on YouTube if people were watching it. Cadamartere is how he pronounced his name. I've not heard that one before, but I think I might start using it from now on.
Am I also right in thinking, James, he played left wing?
Nah, that's if so. Look, big time here. I watched it. Like you've clearly just looked on, like I don't know, Flash Scores, FOTMob,
Discord, mate.
No, he played through the middle. Had a few chances as well at the post. We've won it. So yeah, when you're watching, you're thinking, I don't care about any of the other 10 other players on the pitch or 20. 21 players. I just care about that one. And you're like, it's like you've got a bet on a player to score as well. You literally don't care. Like you just
player cam on Sky.
Yeah, it is like player cam. You're not looking at where the ball is. You're like, get in the fucking box. Anyway. Right, let's. I mean, we're going to talk about England 2, Andorra 0, and don't worry, Matt, I'm not really going to talk about it.
Thanks.
But how do they make international football more exciting, Matt? Because I'm a football fan, you're a football fan. You know, I want to get into it, but the second half, well, halfway through the second half, I switched over to Michael McIntyre's Big Show on BBC. But I mean, it's not like I'm not fully invested. I mean, look, I've sat through Sheffield Wednesday 2, Burton Albion 3 in the Papa John's Trophy a couple of seasons ago. So, do you know what I mean? It's not like I can't hack it. But, I mean, that was just horrific, like yesterday.
It's serious discussion. Improvements for international football is you've got to implement a better brand of football in terms of the attacking intent and also defensively. I would argue you've got to be aggressive in tackles and you've got to be very front-footed and attacking in stuff that you do. In regards to the in regards to a stupid suggestion, multi-ball, 4 goals. Every 5 minutes when a team doesn't score, you lose a player. Just some stupid dodgeball stuff would be great.
It's just I know they had the the Nations League for this exact reason, for like playing teams of equal standard. But I just think it's like, what is the point in playing a team where I think they were like 4th tier Spanish players? So it's effectively playing against like a League 2 team against Man United. And look, I know like the FA Cup works and these upsets happen and stuff, but it's literally like, what are they achieving? It doesn't achieve anything, these qualifiers. They need to do some sort of kind of seeding, or I don't know. Just sack them all off. Who cares about these little shit nations? But anyway, before we get cancelled or something excessive they shouldn't do, I'm going to read some comments out. Goose said he played golf with Chris Waddle.
Oh yeah.
Did you win? That is and is Chris Waddle any good? I have seen him a few times playing golf, but let us know.
Lazy swing, I imagine. Very relaxed swing.
Probably. He's not thrashing at the ball, is he? And stuff. Andrew says, evening lads, watch both daughters win the first match of the season for Crosspool FC. Love it. Nice one. Old Geezer says he's watching from Rwanda, up the African Isles. Jordan says my weekend consisted of watching golf and celebrating the wife's birthday. Probably much more exciting than watching Wednesday at the moment. G said, did anyone feel the buzz earlier on our phones? Yes. Did you shit yourself when that happened?
I thought the club had been sold, James. I thought the club had been sold. We're inside the 2-week window. I thought the club had been sold. I'll be honest with you. I thought that was what the alert was. Everybody go, celebrate, open your Budweisers, James. Let's crack on. Let's have a really positive pod tonight. Yeah. Just for balance here, James, I'm just going to highlight one more comment just before we move on here, which is from John Stanforth. Cannot watch and listen to this rubbish any longer. So there we go.
Cheers, John. You know what? We talk about the football stuff and we get told being negative. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a slant on this. But look, can't please everyone. Matt, I do have a confession as well, mate.
Go on.
Those Budweisers.
Finished?
I haven't finished them. I've opened them. I know. I'm sorry. I was on Jimmy's pod, Jimmy of the Blades Ramble. He does like a Steel City Showdown thing for context as well. He thought it'd be quite funny, obviously this season, with us in the absolute mud, to do a show like that, which I thought, you know what, I'll go along. It's a bit of therapy talking about it, to talk about it for a little bit longer than I already do. I thought, no, I'll go on there. And anyway, obviously they're in the mud as well, just like us, but I had about 10 minutes before I went on, I was like, I had the idea of having a drink and kind of when it comes on saying I'm just drinking United fans' tears, but I didn't have any other beers in the fridge, so I had to break open the Budweisers, which one person messaged me, said, "Is there another? Does that mean something that we don't? Are the club being sold? You've opened the Budweisers." And I was like, "No, mate, literally, there is no subliminal messaging in that at all. I do not know whether we are being sold or not." So I wish I did. Anyway, I mean, we are going to be talking about Sheffield Wednesday. Plenty to talk about, as always. Yeah. Of course, as the title kind of suggests, talk about that video that was posted earlier this week claiming that the club will be sold within the next couple of weeks. It seemed pretty certain of it as well. We'll also discuss that, share our thoughts on what was said. We've also got a game to look forward to next week. Bristol City at home. Protests are planned for that, which we can speak about as well. There was also a transfer window which closed last Monday, but in case you forgot, I've kind of spoke about that, but Matt will get your thoughts on Harry Amass and the three Neely men that never were. But first, we'll talk about the trust and the engagement panel, and just a bit of a plug for the Patreon as well. All 270 members that are over there will get access to extra time. We're going to be discussing that Danny Earl interview from earlier, and also kind of a question about is this short-term pain for long-term gain in the future? Is that what we're heading towards? So we'll just we'll talk a little bit around that as well. So patreon.com/WTRD pod is where you need to go and listen to that one. Just sign up to the North Stand tier, and there's a link to where watchers will be going live immediately after this show. Right, after all that, it was announced on Saturday that the Sheffield Wednesday Supporters Trust have resigned from the engagement panel. To give a bit of a backstory to this, they were on the engagement panel previously. They then either left or was asked to leave, and then I think since I want to say January, but it might have been slightly before that. I think they asked to be put back on the engagement panel, of which the members accepted, and yeah, they've been on it ever since, really. But yeah, they've had a vote, and they've come to the conclusion that they no longer want to be on this engagement panel. Matt, what's your take on it all? Because it's kind of two arguments here. One is that they shouldn't be a part of it because no good has really come from this engagement panel, and I don't think it really serves the same purpose at the moment that it perhaps did when it was first set up. But then the flip side of it would be that it is an opportunity, and perhaps the only line of communication that we have with the chairman at this moment in time. So where do you stand with it all?
I think, firstly, if members have voted to leave, it wouldn't be a democratic organisation if they remain. So listening to members and withdrawing is the right thing to do. I think the wider discussion on it, obviously, as you've alluded to there, James, is around the effectiveness of the engagement panel as an entity in the club's most troubled and challenging time in over a decade. I'm sure this isn't for lack of trying from existing members of the panel, specifically in recent meetings. We saw the minutes for the most recent meeting, and obviously there was a lot of chatter before those were released about members potentially being unhappy about some of the meeting minutes and the way in which that the meeting was documented, and actually the fact of trying to condense down a 6 or 7 hour meeting into 2.5 pages. You just simply are not going to be able to get all the things out there. You're not going to be able to, I suppose, the club are never going to agree to some of the more questionable and colourful language that allegedly the chairman has used towards members of the engagement panel. I suppose if the club, or in the latest meeting, DC simply refuses to engage, and this has been a kind of a running theme throughout from kind of like the more recent ones, what is the actual point of the meeting and the panel itself? And again, this isn't a shot at the people who remain on that engagement panel. This is more a shot at the club, and actually, what are you using these fans that you've asked to give up half a day or a full day's worth of work? Yeah. What are you using them for? To me, outside looking in, it feels like a very black and white situation from the club's perspective. It feels like a box ticking exercise. that they have to do this. They have to engage with fans, and they're just going to go out. They've put it out to people. And I'm sure originally when the panel was set up and there wasn't this huge movement and swell of kind of unrest against the chairman, there were very meaningful things that actually impacted Sheffield Wednesday supporters on a day-to-day going to the game, and it really helped. When we've got into this more choppier waters, it seems like the club are reluctant to even meet fairly simple and basic requests, that's just to have an independent chair of a meeting, and they fold not like a tuxedo but like a cheap suit, and it's almost like the club are just throwing their hands up and going, oh my god, this is too hard, we give up, we're not doing it.
That, I mean, I do want to show some sympathy for those that are on the engagement panel, the fan groups, because again, like kind of you've alluded to, but when they was first asked, that would have been such a different scenario around around the football club. Correct me if I'm wrong, but back then when it was originally set up, I don't think it was that common knowledge that the owner was an absolute basket case. I mean, look, people had the reservations about it, I'm sure, but the point I'm making is they didn't agree to be on the engagement panel to then now be kind of have all eyes on. Literally everyone is looking to these people that are sitting on this Zoom call and going, it's like that meme, like, come on, do something, like trying to, expecting that they're going to be like our only hope of getting the chairman to change his mind and leave the football club. And like, and I mean this in the nicest way in the world, like they're not, those people, they weren't put on this engagement panel to do this sort of thing. Like, that's not what they was there for. They was there to kind of highlight concerns by their fan group. So the women for the women's supporters group, for example, have different things that are important to them that might not be important to me. So they're raising these issues and perhaps hopefully getting things changed and everything else. And a lot of these meetings went on without nobody knowing anything whatsoever. Like, nobody knew what happened on these meetings because they were largely irrelevant. And I mean this in the nicest way in the world. Like, to the rest of the fan base, most of them, you went right about your day, and if something changed for the good, great. And it was great that another fan has actually put that idea forward, and it's happened. And those that part of these supporters groups had a chance of doing that. Now, like, if it was live streamed, there'd be 40,000 people watching it live. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I do sympathise with them greatly that they've been put in this position now where it's all come very, very political, and it's all about showing the right message, and you've got to leave in the right way, you've got to sign up in the right way, and you've got to say the right thing all at the same time, and it's kind of a bit like it's got a bit of a it wouldn't surprise me that people just go, no, what, I can't be arsed with all this anymore. Like, I just want to support my football club. I don't want to get people coming after me just because I've decided to stay on an engagement panel group or not, and that's what's happened. It's had all the infighting and stuff, but obviously the Sheffield Wednesday Trust have asked for a vote from the members, and they've said no, they don't want to be a part of it, and I do sympathise because I do feel like you've just said there, it's not really serving much of a purpose anymore. But what do you make to the people that have said, look, we want someone to be on it because that's our only chance of saying to him face to face, kind of sell the football club? I kind of get that to a certain extent, but I just want to know what you think.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point to make, 100%. Because if you are, Jesus Christ, James, sorry, I've just seen the size of the cup that you're drinking out of. Jesus Christ,
it's massive,
solid.
It's a 2-pinter by anyway.
Yeah,
stolen from, not stolen. Sorry, did I say stolen? Just borrowed from the Sheffield Arena. Yeah. That's it. I will take it back at some point.
Coming back to the original point before I was distracted by that, cut the size of your head. I think I was looking at it and just thinking, yes, I think that it is important that supporters are attempting to hold the football club and, more importantly, the owner accountable, because there is only one question that really needs answering, and it's not, are you going to sell the football club? Because that is going to happen at some point, whether he likes it or not. It's when. When are you going to sell this football club? Not who to, I don't need to know that. I just want one simple question answered. When are you going to sell this football club? And you can rattle off all the big bank of evidence that it should have happened months ago, it should have happened years ago. That's your own viewpoint. But when is this football club going to be sold? That is the only one. Now, if you, as we have been told, the chairman does not like to be interrupted. He likes to allow himself to talk and blah, blah, blah. And it seems as though they're going to be unwilling to meet that simple, very basic request from owners, from fans, I do kind of get the point of, well, what are we talking about here? Like, what are we going to talk about here? Because I don't want to hear about the extensive work that's gone on the North Stand. That's great, but you should have just done that anyway. I don't want to hear about all of the other match day revenue that you're losing out on because of this and the impact that this will have on hardworking people at the club. That is tragic, but again, it's one man's fault. I want to know, when are you going to sell this football club? And that is the base level question. I think it was just running back to a point that you made earlier, James, about not only the time investment but and the people picking at you, but also the mental drain on people. I think it was the Armed Forces Owls who just said they're so mentally taxing to go to these. And I know that seems a really strange statement, but can you imagine being sat and you only want one question asked, and every single time you just get attacked for asking one question? Just over and over again. He
is very manipulative as well in the way that it comes across. Yeah. And you're right. I think that's his tactic as well. Kind of just gets you into submission, really. He talks on one point for so long and goes around all the houses that actually he doesn't even answer the question. And in the end, you're just left thinking, I did have a question, but that was about 25 minutes ago when he first started talking. I've either forgot about it or I just really can't be asked anymore. I just want to get on to the next topic. And that's what happens. And so... yeah, he's very like that, and I think also it takes some strong people to actually stand up to him as well, which I'm sure we have got some of those in the fan base. But you quite often see that in the fans forum. He can get quite animated and quite aggressive in some ways, and it's just not a pleasant experience at all. So it's obviously each their own. The trust have said they don't want to be part of it, and we'll see what happens moving forward, even if because I think at the moment it's stuck at a point where they wanted a representative from the FSA to be part of it, and the club have said no. So at the moment, it looks like they might be part of an engagement panel, but there ain't no meetings. So
there is. I mean, there must be. I'm not saying there is definitely, but I would assume there's a grounds for a refusal there, because it's not like there's been a conversation back and forth. An FSA representative just to simply chair the meeting and ensure that people stay on task. Even if you put an EFL representative, somebody who is not necessarily interested in what the fans have to say and is more supportive of the club because they're the competition organisers effectively in all of this. To still just say no, like straight up and flat out, that we're not going to accept that. That tells you everything you need to know. They're not interested. Have never been interested. Don't care about anything that fans really seriously, genuinely are concerned about. They'll listen to all of the surface level stuff, but aside from that, they're not fussed. Anyway, I want to know also, how's the safe standing going?
You're not in that section of the ground.
No, don't you dare stand up in the south stand after kick-off. Excuse me, no noise.
I mean, you're throwing
that was thrown out as well. That was with bold and wild claims about all of this stuff. That's the kind of stuff that and this isn't a dig at the people who are at the club for this, because it is of course one person at the top whose fault it is. That is the kind of stuff that they're good at and want to talk about. They want to talk about implementing safe standing. They want to talk about e-bars. They want to talk about that. And that's what that engagement panel should be for, to put forward ideas that impact supporters on a game-to-game basis. However, it's so poorly ran at the minute. There is only one question. And sadly, we know that people who work at the club have to get 3 different quotes to order a set of fucking biros, let alone they're going to have the information about when the club's going to be sold.
Yeah, I've heard that. They have to get acceptance to order something, and then when the invoice comes in, that has to also get signed off as well at the same time. So absolutely bonkers. I mean, whilst we're on the topic of kind of the trust and things like that, protests, that's been kind of another hot topic every single week. I just want to say as well, obviously there's been protests that have been put out for the Bristol City game next week. 1867 group have also come out as well. They're asking for people to get under the south stand after the game. I think the trust have said there's going to be scarves and leaflets and stuff to hold out on the 10th minute, and other stuff that's going to be coming out. We are actually going to be talking to members of the trust as well on Wednesday evening on the debate show. So yeah, 8:00 on Wednesday if you want to hear more about what they want to do, or if you've got any questions or anything like that. But the thing that's kind of annoying me a little bit with all these protests, it's almost become like a bit of a game in itself amongst like the fans and stuff, as to like what's the perfect protest going to be, or they've spelt this wrong, so I'm not. Yeah. It's almost like I'm not going to be part of this protest because you spelt the word protest wrong. Doesn't look very professional. Well, do you know what? Guess what? Like, protests in its nature aren't very professional. That's not what they're designed to be. All right, organized, yeah, that helps. But when you're trying to, the very nature, and I think we've talked about this before, like back when the 1867 group came along, like the first time, a protest is designed to disrupt. That's how they get the message across. Because, if you're just stood in the corner waving a little flag, guess what? Nobody's going to see you. So you have to kind of disrupt things, and you've got to cause enough of a scene for people to stop and go, oh, what's that over there that they're talking about? For the media, oh, what's that? Oh, do you know what? Something's happening. We're going to get the cameras over there because it's a newsworthy item. That's what a protest is. I just want to say to people, just stop. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Don't start. Like, it's almost like people just picking holes in things for the sake of picking holes in something, just because it's something to do. And I think they forget as well that has a negative effect on everyone else. Like, these people might actually want to be part of this protest, but I think they've always sticking black and yellow bin bags on the seats, and then people have been saying, yeah, but it's just going to say Chancery in black. Well, yeah, that is the idea. It did say it in white, and it should say it in white on the seats, but now it says it in black and gold, which are the protest colours. So like, that is the point. Like, you can't go around and just start painting the seats blue, or ripping them out and swapping them for a blue seat, because guess what? That's criminal damage, and people are too shit scared to go on the pitch because they think they're going to get banned. So they're not going to start taking a tin of Dulux blue paint in and start painting seats, are they? Like, come on, like, it's not going to work like that, is it?
Can you imagine someone turning up with their crown paints like that? Just little crown paints and paintbrush.
Dulux, mate. Well, we have a brand deal next week. It's Dulux, all right.
I mean, James, again, I don't disagree with anything you said. I would continue to echo this statement over and over again. If you are unhappy with it, stop picking holes, organise something yourself. Either by joining the trust and offering your services. Like, I've spoken to a number of people who, yes, they're trust members, but they give up all of their pre-game stuff before a game. They will dedicate 4 or 5 hours to go down and help set stuff up. Like, I spoke to Harry before Leicester. He was down there 3-4 hours before, not going enjoying the time with their friends or anything like that. Actually just stood outside the away end, handing out leaflets, talking to fans as they want to come past. You can organise stuff on your own and set something up yourself. See how hard it is. Give up nearly every single spare hour of your life to fundraise, to advertise, to go and give interviews, and then hope Steve from Attercliffe doesn't turn around and go, that's a fucking right shit idea, that I'm not doing it. Like, my point is, James, is like, I get why this may not be of what you wanted to do. The trust.
I don't want to protest either, Matt. Like, let's be right.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I'd rather have a nice owner that does what every other football owner, or the vast majority of football owners do, and not have to like spend all time talking about it, getting irate and getting angry and stuff. I'm sure the people at the trust, and I'm sure the lads on the 1867 group also want to just watch their football club that they've supported all their life. Do you know what I mean? And not have to spend hours, like you said, weeks, months, whatever it is, planning all these things and coming up with ideas, because also they're getting peppered all the time. What's happening next? What's happening at Bristol City? When you're coming back? We need to get more, so then they do come out, and then they just get hammered all the time. And it's just like, I mean, I spoke to the Reading lot, Sell Before We Die. And the thing that kind of I took away, there's quite a few things actually, but one of them was the fact they were talking about all the different things that they did. They had the Digi van going down. I think they had they had a sitting protest as well on the final whistle. Obviously, they got militant and went on the pitch. They threw tennis balls on the pitch as well. But then also they had the clown face painting as well, because their message was that the Die Younger is a clown. So there were kids that were getting involved in that, some adults as well. They didn't have, if they had 15,000 fans, they didn't have 15,000 people with clown face paint on, and then just because they didn't walk away going, you know what, that was a shit protest. That they might have only been a couple of thousand, a couple of hundred, but it doesn't have to have 100% buy-in on every. If they have these bags on the seats, I'm telling you now, not every bit of the word chancery is not going to be covered up in black and gold. That is not possible right now. I don't think it's going to happen. Does it mean that it's not being effective? No, it doesn't. It can still be effective even if it doesn't actually get fully completed. But I can see it now. I could bet your bottom dollar come, I don't know, 5:30 on next Saturday. There'll be some smart arse South Stand taking a picture going, look at that protest. Looks shit, doesn't it? There's about 4 black bags. That's we're going to get them comments, and it just doesn't really help in the final goal that we're going towards. It just doesn't really help anyone, to be fair. So let's be right. I haven't met anyone right now currently that doesn't want a new owner at Sheffield Wednesday.
You're right.
I got my soapbox now, mate.
I was just going to say, I'm just going to pull this one up from Daz here, which says James is on a rate rant. The one that I would say, James, for that, and the one that often gets ridiculed is the tennis ball protest. If you remember, it was Middlesbrough, wasn't it? It was Middlesbrough at home, Tuesday night, tennis ball protest. It was about 4 sleeves of tennis balls rained down on the corner from T1. It stopped the game. Sky covered it.
Yeah,
that is the exact same deal as 3,500 fans staying out of an away end for the first 5 minutes. It stopped the game because the Leicester protest wouldn't have stopped the game. It stopped the game. Sky covered it. They talked about why. They talked about it's to do with ownership, and then we moved on. The same will happen for the Bristol City game. Bin bags being placed on seats or whatever. It may be the black and gold stuff. Because people have talked about the black and gold stuff consistently. Again, we'll move on. But it is one of those, Jay. We'll move on, but it is one of those where it's like, again, if you are in support of it, cool. Please try and raise some awareness for it, obviously, like people do. If it is not for you, just move on with your day. There were plenty of people who, myself included, attended the Walk Through the Park protest with the coffin and stood outside the South Stand on the park and all the rest of it, and then went into the ground. The majority of Wednesday fans didn't attend that. Majority of Wednesday fans didn't attend that walk through the park who were at that game, in attendance for that game. The majority of people who were at that game did not attend that. That is just, it's just factual.
True.
That's fine.
Wigan Owl says it's the slow drip effect. The protests are a reason why we are where we are. National press and national TV. Yet they're not just going to start suddenly covering our plight. We have to get eyes on and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the other thing as well with the protests, I've seen people saying it won't do anything. It might not. It might. Until you try something, you can't definitively say whether it is or isn't going to do something. So even if it's just to get eyes on from, I don't know, some potential investor and goes, actually, that's a football club in trouble. How many owners of football clubs are fans of that football club when they bought it? Mm-hmm. Probably not many. So it's like kind of waving that flag and going, "Oh, look at me over here. We need new owners," and that's probably one way of doing it. Steve says, "Come and get your black bin bags," and James Reena says,
"On offer till December.
Rip with me.
Just say with me right now. Fill them up now." What a show. Dear. What a show. Next international break, we're just doing Phoenix Nights quotes for an hour and a half.
Can I just say as well, there is a Phoenix Nights section on the Discord if you're a member of Patreon. So there we go. Just a quick one here. Jez said, is James still 50-50 about renewing his season ticket? Do you know what? It is a bone of contention with myself, and myself only. I think push comes to shove, I think I'm leaning towards probably not getting one, if I'm being perfectly honest. But it's one of those where it's something I love. I love going to the match. It's more than just going to the match for me. It's just looking forward to it and actually, just like driving down and just the whole going with Steve and talking about football and then people you meet when you're there. Like it's the whole thing. And actually like seeing it with your own eyes. You can watch it on telly, but you see a lot more. Like if you come from a Football Manager or playing Football Manager background, back when it was like the 2D top-down view and stuff, and you're like watching the form. I like to see the formation and how things are happening. Like, you don't really get that when you're watching it on the iFollow. So yeah, but then there's that kind of, it's that saying again that, something about snowflakes and avalanches. You're not the snowflake to cause the avalanche, but ultimately, if everyone thinks like that, then we're not really going to hurt him where it matters most. And what is the biggest sole purchase that any Sheffield Wednesday fan makes? Well, for the vast majority, is their season ticket. So if people can refrain from doing that, and everyone can do it, everyone doing their bit, it is really going to hurt him. Because I do think he's trying to struggle on and get to a point where he can just carry on. So yeah, that's where I'm at. James,
do you mind if I just before we just chime on, James, because I've just reminded myself about this, because you spoke about it right at the top about the protest in London, and we're just coming off the protest stuff and moving into some Harry Amass chat and player to fantastic turnout from those who were in London, fantastic turnout from those who travelled down from Sheffield. Really powerful, impactful statement. I thought the what they called the digivans, TV on a van, like basically, like old school when you were in school and they used to wheel the TV. Like,
and then all the kids got really excited as well.
Yeah, look at how far we've come. But yeah, a genuinely wonderful, really well thought out, really, really brilliant protest. I would also like to say to Dan from Wednesday week, who I thought this was magic when it was organised to start at 4:00 and he turned up at 11. I thought that was fucking magic, Dan. Well done, mate.
Yeah, he did go there a bit later on as well.
I'm pleased. I'm pleased he went back. He didn't just stand around on a corner just like...
Just for context as well, he does actually live in London. He didn't go back to Sheffield and then go back down to London, because that would have been quite impressive. But yeah, I just wanted to shout Goose Creative as well for doing the all the artwork and stuff, and for the banner and everything like that. Really, really good stuff. Yeah, let's get on to talking about actual players, Matt. Like signing. Oh my. I did the deadline day stream. I missed it because it was on bang on 7:00, and I have to mute all my notifications and stuff because I don't want it. It annoys me when I watch a podcast and you'll hear is the ding, the like notification tune that comes through the speakers and stuff. But anyway, so I didn't see it. But no, we signed Harry Amass right at the death. Comes from Manchester United, 18-year-old left back. It's a loan only until January, short-term loan. I mean, before we talk about that kind of the semantics of the deal and everything, just purely from a footballing sense, Matt, I mean, we just need bodies, don't we? I suppose it doesn't really matter who he is, but he has got a little bit of something about him. He's played in the Premier League, which I suppose you can't really argue with that, can you?
No, absolutely not. We were sat here saying the same about Bailey Cadamartri. You can't take away from the fact that he's a championship goal scorer. The same goes for this. He's made appearances in the Premier League. Yeah, I think just base level before we started kind of like talking about him as a player. Desperately need bodies through the door, even if it is an 18-year-old lad making his first steps in professional football. I would love to have added this signing alongside a little bit of experience, like a normal football club would do. I think it's, again... If you're just looking at the deal in isolation and the player through the door, remove all of the shit surrounding it and just focus on the one player who's coming through the door. I think it's a really, really, good signing, and it's an exciting. In an ordinary season, it would be, and with an ordinary owner and an ordinary football club, it would be an exciting signing.
Because this is it, like the championship clubs need, like Premier League clubs have a lot of players that they don't need, like youngsters coming through, or just, the squads are that big, they just have to constantly offload players, whether that's sell them or, or loan them out and stuff. I think the fact that, we can actually attract those players. I mean, even in the mess that we are in at the moment, but I want to see, again, remove everything else from it, as you've mentioned, but I want to see Sheffield Wednesday constantly signing youngsters from Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Insert all those football clubs there. That's what I want to see from Sheffield Wednesday. You never know. You might find a diamond in the rough that's actually really good, and actually fall in love with a lone player again. How many times have we said that in the recent past?
Again. Oh, don't. Shea scored again for Northern Ireland. Just my brave, beautiful boy. Anyway.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But that's what I want to see from us. So, it's just a shame that we're in the situation that we are in, and we can't really really capitalise on it that much. I mean, Harry Amass,
Manchester United are having to pay for his bus fare, isn't it?
fucking hell, sending him off with like, £2.50 for bus fare
And a Lunchable.
Yeah. Mad, absolutely mental. Come on to that in a second. But what do you know about him, if anything? I know nothing about him whatsoever. But he, other than he's played in the Premier League and his left foot, I have fallen into that trap. I did type his name in on YouTube. I have watched his highlights reel. Looks quite a handy player. But then again, these highlights reel is just in the under-21s, which it's not, it's a different level of football, isn't it?
He's very, very limited, because if you go back and watch Charlie McNeil's goal reel and Olaf Kabatsky's goal reel, it looks absolutely phenomenal. And then you watch them play and you go, oh yeah, they are young. And that is what we are going to have to remember with Harry Amass, is that yes, his pedigree is the potential to be a Premier League left back. That is what his potential is. He's, irrespective of how crap Man United are, he is at pound for pound the biggest football club on the planet. And they rate him very highly to have given him debuts and given him starting minutes in the first team. I suppose from the bits and pieces that, like the clips and bits and pieces that you can get hold of him, very technically gifted young footballer. He's likened by Manchester United fans and people who have watched him come through a youth setup as not your more like traditional left back. He's more sort of like your progressive forward thinking, like Ain't Nori style, not ability, but like the style of left back that he is. It's defending second, going forward first, if that makes sense. I don't, from all that you can gauge on him in terms of like clips that you watch of him and also reading around him, I've got very little concerns about his ability to impact games going forward, because he looks very, very comfortable on the football at youth level. Delivery, ability to control and shield a ball and retain possession, all seems there. It's the physicality that's my concern. And a defence that is getting peppered in the first 4 games. The defensive naivety that comes with young players in defensive positions. Okay, we have talked about the under-21s or our cup side not having those issues as much, but let's stop for a second and just rewind to the Leeds game and forget how hilarious it was. There was an awful lot of harem-scarum moments with that back line, and that will come naturally with a young player making his way in the game, because defending is harder than attacking. Like defending and getting it, you make one mistake as a defender, you might get away with it once. You're not going to get away with it 2 or 3 times at this level. Attacking wise, you can go to take on a player 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. It only has to come off once and the ball to end up in the back of the net. It's just, that is my only concern with him. And it's who you pair him alongside as a left centre back is going to be absolutely pivotal.
Yeah, Daz says it wouldn't surprise me if he has to play every game through to Manchester United. I've paid for literally everything to do with him. Yes, sometimes that gets kind of baked into the deal that players have to play when they're at the club. Nat said Pedersen and his team need a massive pat on the back for bullying off the totally free deal. And Steve says we all know he's going to get injured in training on Friday afternoon. It's the Wednesday way. Yeah, that would be nailed on if that happened and we never actually got to see him. I think my only concern is obviously we need more players. Definitely we do. And yes, he looks technically gifted as you've mentioned. However, right now in our current situation, if we are going to have any hope of staying up, we need 11 Callum Pattersons. And unfortunately, we haven't got one of them. Like in terms of, we need the battlers, we need someone that's just going to run through brick walls, because that's what it's going to be like. We need a team of Pattersons and David Stockdales. Do you know what I mean? Like the shithousery and just being really horrible football team that nobody wants to come to Hillsborough because it's going to be hostile and everything else. But we haven't got any of them. We've actually got young kids who are just kind of trying to forge their way into professional football. And we've just got totally the wrong type of player. We don't want creative, skillful players. Yes, it looks good on the eye and things like that, but if we're actually physically talking about like staying in this league, that's what we need, and we just haven't got them. Just people, quite a few people have referenced the fact that he's totally free, like literally even accommodation, even the bonuses that he might accrue and things like that. I mean, I think Harry Amass, when he turns up to training, he'll be wrapped up in wrapping paper, a little bow on him as well, because he has been literally gifted to us. It's like getting a remote control car for Christmas but also having 8 AA batteries sellotaped at the side at box as well, so you don't have to go out and buy them. You said that, Joe. That was most disappointing, weren't it? No, when you got a present and you had to go out and buy some fucking batteries because you didn't have any, and you couldn't play with your toy, and it's Christmas Day as well, so like no shop is open, no one's got any. You're like, Mom, why have you not bought any chuffing batteries? Why is there no batteries in the
rolling your remote control car backwards and forwards?
like making that noise like
push it and then grab the stick and pretend you're doing it.
Anyway, but it just shows the situation that we're in, that they have to pay for literally everything, doesn't it?
I think it's, again, I like the loan. The situation is fucking embarrassing. That's nothing new to Sheffield Wednesday, that we don't and can't consistently meet our financial obligations, even the ones at home, let alone before we look elsewhere. I'm trying to figure out how to word this, James, because I don't understand how a club can sit in a negotiation and say, we would love to take your player on loan. We can give them all the playing opportunities because we've got a very limited squad. Yeah, that's great. Would you be all right to cover his wages? Yeah, all right, we'll do that. Another thing, can you also pay? Like, that is, at night, as a fan of that football club, that is fucking shameful. We can't cover accommodation. We can't cover travel. We can't cover all of the other bits and pieces.
I just want to stress, it's not that we can't cover it. It's that the EFL aren't allowing us to increase the expenditure at all until we actually prove that, or Chansiri proves that he's got 12 months funds. And at this point, he clearly hasn't, because we'd have signed some other players that haven't come through the door.
I was just going to say, James, thank you very much for saving me, but the semantics are we can't fucking afford it. And that's embarrassing. Like, the nuts and bolts of it is whether the EFL have blocked it and this and this and this. No, we can't afford it.
True. Enoch, thanks for the super chat. He also says, come on, lads, let's fleet onto the new Simon with an I. Enoch, we are getting onto that in a minute. We are getting on there. There's one more thing, and then we are going to get onto that, because we're still talking about kind of the transfer window and stuff. Just a few bits, because I know people are just going to turn it off as soon as we finish about talking about Simon with an I. Just want to bring this one up from Ian Bennett from the Sheffield Wednesday Trust. The protests are working, and all the stuff behind the scraps is working. He will be gone. So cheers for jumping in, Ian. We made one signing. We could have made 4, believe it or not. Mad, like that. I did not have that on my bingo card for last Monday. Sam Raksaki from Chelsea, Zepiqueno Redmond from Aston Villa, and Jadon Heske from City were all heavily linked. Firstly, what's your thoughts on the EFL in all this situation? Because clearly the EFL have stopped us from signing those players. Pedersen's gone out there and his team and done some stellar work into kind of even getting those, getting those talks started, and by all accounts agreeing for all of them to pay the wages for those players to come. But obviously the EFL have stood firm and just said, no, it's not happening. What do you kind of applaud the EFL? Are you angry with the EFL? What's your thoughts?
James, I agree wholeheartedly with the decision the EFL have made. Firstly, they don't care about Sheffield Wednesday like we do. Some people seem to be getting very confused surrounding that. They care about us from the perspective of, can we fill fixtures? Nothing more, nothing less. They are a competition organiser. They are not our parents. Their job isn't to help us and save us. Their job is to facilitate a situation that allows us to help ourselves, the same as every other football club. They are a competition organiser, not a regulator. There is a huge, huge difference between the two. There was some people seem to have picked up on the comments that were made in one of the EFL statements saying, we want to see a competitive Sheffield Wednesday. And we're like, well, that means that they've got to help us. Why aren't they doing more to help us? Look, I want to see Lionel Messi finish his career at Sheffield Wednesday. It's just not going to happen. Just because I want something and I want that to happen doesn't mean it. Just because the EFL want to see Sheffield Wednesday in a position that they are, they're going to present you with opportunities to do so. It's up to the club to be able to meet the demands of the competition organisers to basically go, can you do this? No. For fuck's sake. It's very nice. They could have thrown the book at us right from the off, because he has been playing fast and loose with the rules and regulations set by this competition organiser for years. Let's not get confused with that. just because they want something, I want something, they aren't in a position of power to be able to actually do something because of what their status is. They are just to uphold the rules. They don't make the rules. Could they have ratified the moves? Yeah. And what happens when, again, we fuck ourselves by not meeting financial obligations further down the road, plummeting and spiralling the financial situation even deeper than they already are? They're the one who will be called idiots. They're the one who will be called enablers. They're the ones who we as fans will turn on and go, well, you should have stopped him. You should have stopped him. If it was another club in the league, if this was them down the road and they were going through, they were going through this, I would be saying, well, hang on, hold on. You can't do that. That, like, if we were in a sound financial footing and them down the road were in the exact same, irrespective of what they seem to think, in that they're as bad as us, they're not. If they were in that position, I'd be saying, well, hang on, what's the benefit of me running my club really well if you're just going to allow them to plunder on regardless?
Yeah, and then be competitive in the league and win games and stuff like that. Like, because that's ultimately what you're trying to do, and then also then be, eligible for the prize money for finishing 10th, 7th, 6th, whatever position it's going to be.
So effectively, what you could do then, James, is if the EFL took that stance, is the EFL just go, oh, okay, if you're the football club and the EFL take the stance of, yeah, you can sign players, don't worry about it. If you are a football club in that position, if you're Deshpan Chansiri, you go, hang on, so I can just not pay my players and pay my staff. I can run this bastard into the ground and you'll still allow me to sign people.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I'm not going to pay for again. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. I think I'm as a fan, it's annoying. You're going to watch. We're going to go on Saturday, and it's going to be the same squad that we had, 2 weeks ago. Bar one player, That's the and you're going to see Bristol City. I don't know what they've done in their transfer window. Maybe they signed a few extra players. We need players, and from just purely from a fan's perspective and an entertainment perspective, it's shit. However, they kind of had to stand firm, and also we're not privy to any conversations that Deshpan Chansiri and the EFL have, whether that's in an email, whether that's a meeting, or whatever that may be. We don't know half of what actually happens. We all know he's an absolute prick. Chances are, he's probably a prick to them as well. And people are human, so he'll have rubbed them up the wrong way. I'm sure, will have given them assurances that this won't happen again. We've sorted things out, and it was just a blip, or it was just a whatever. And then next month, the same thing happens again, and they'll be banging their head against a brick wall because they don't want, just like us, we want the club to be run in a nice way. I'm sure they want the clubs that are members of their competition to also be running the right way. They don't want to have these meetings left, right, and centre, and all the eyes again pointing, and all eyes looking on, and all fingers pointing at them and saying again, do something. They don't want that either. So I'm glad that they've took that stance and further just embarrassed him. Really, that that Man United have had to literally gift a player to us out of feeling sorry for us. Do you know what I mean? That is the top and bottom of it. So yeah, it's just skin, no other explanation, hand to mouth. But we kind of knew that already, didn't we?
He's effectively, James, here. Sorry, just to wrap it up here. Effectively, his line of credit with them is now dry. Whereas the EFL have known this about him for a number of years, his line of credit with them is now dry. There is nowhere for him to go. There is no magic get out of jail free card.
Yeah, this one here made me laugh. Terry said, it feels like I've been watching reruns of Bullseye all week, and here's what you could have signed. yeah, checking back, lads. Do you know what? If that lad from Aston Villa, Redmond, I think he's on to Huddersfield, I want to say. If he starts banging him in for Huddersfield, I'll be mightily pissed off. But
just
anyway.
on them, James, do you see the miss from the weekend from Huddersfield? If anybody hasn't seen it, go and have a look at it. Wow.
Do you know, when I saw the caption, miss of the weekend, and you're kind of watching it through and you're thinking, all right, what point is he going to miss here? He takes it around the goalie, and I think, that's not really bad miss. He's from a pretty tight angle, and he takes it closer, and then he goes round him, and then his left foot, and it just cannons off the post, and you're thinking, oh my days. I mean, thankfully, they won the game.
Yeah.
But had they not won, that would have been well, it's still embarrassing either way, isn't it, really, to be fair? But yeah, it's a bad one. Matt, this is the thing that everyone's been talking about, and probably why there's so many people in here listening to us. So we're going to talk about England against Army. No, I'm joking. We are going to be talking about the video that dropped last week. Simon with an I, not a Y, or Psy, as he was called. Anonymous source. There was no face, just a voice talking on the video with Punk Chef. Now, the video is about half an hour long, but the big takeaway and the quote that I've pulled out, a lot of people will be saying, "Where's this quote from? Who said that the club's going to be sold within 2 weeks?" Well, that is exactly what he says on there. Fairly early on in the video, he says that the club will be sold within 2 weeks. He does caveat that immediately after by saying, unless he changes his mind, and he being Dapon Chansiri. But he says in 2 weeks' time there'll be an agreement reached. The club will be sold, and it'll either be all done and dusted, or they'll be waiting on the EFL to ratify the deal. But in all intents and purposes, it will all be done. That was on, I want to say, Tuesday last week.
Video was released, I think Wednesday, would have been recorded, I'm assuming Tuesday, maybe early doors Wednesday. So
we're already kind of, it's a week and a couple of days, like 10 days, I think, will be the end of the 2 weeks, according to Sai. I mean, apparently this guy's got a good track record when it comes to getting things right. I don't want to ITK, if you want to call it that, with his predictions, or basically just knowing exactly what happens at the football club before anyone else does. Apparently, being right with the Darren Moore leaving, Ugbo signing, Bernardes extension, Danny Rill not going to Southampton, Pedersen to be our next manager, etc., etc. There's a long list of things that have he said that's going to happen, and they have happened. So seems like quite a reliable source. I mean, if there's going to be a reliable source, that's for me. I get sent quite a lot of things. Sometimes I'll run with it. Other times you just kind of keep it under your hat, and then it happens. So then the next time that person then comes to you with something, you go, all right, well, the last one came true. So maybe this next thing that he says is also going to be true as well. But it does seem like Sai is exactly that. It's seems like quite a reliable source. But Matt, let's just kind of react to what was said. I've nothing to prove or disprove the claims that have been made. This is just my hunch, but kind of I'm a bit skeptical. I want to say, just because we've kind of heard these things before, not as black and white as it's going to be 2 weeks and we're going to be sold. But I get really excited about the last one was the Texter and the Tillman kind of scenario when the broker was supposedly being brought in. I got really excited about that. And then to get burned and then realize that nothing's actually happened. Mm-hmm. So again, I think I'm probably right to be a little bit skeptical when it comes to all of this. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think obviously we're all hoping and praying that it's right. Like everybody is thinking, oh my God, in 10 days, if this does turn out to be true, I know for one thing, I mean, it's very nicely, James. We can actually just go back to being a podcast that talks about football.
I know. And do you know what? It'd be such a relief. Honestly, I think it would be. I think I would go through all the emotions. Kind of. I think I just need a day off, just to kind of just lie down and just. Do you know what I mean? Just think, oh my God, that's done. That's finished. Thank God for that. But I hope it's true as well. I really do hope that we are sold in 2 weeks. I just really can't. I know there's NDAs and stuff. Come on to this in a second, and that's kind of why that's the hope that we think that behind like not hearing anything. I feel like we would hear something. Like, do you know what I mean? Alex and Joe have been kind of wanting this information for absolutely ages. Do you know what I mean? They've been this is what they want to hear and things. I would have thought there would have been someone somewhere saying something, despite all these NDAs, but. Yeah, I'm just skeptical, Matt. I really am.
Yeah, I think I'm really, this it's really difficult because, again, I've never met Jake in person.
Can I just bring this up as well? Walker's just said
course.
Punkchef did an interview. He's a great person. Let's not diss him. Totally unfair. 100% agree. This is absolutely nothing. Just like when you did the interviews with Simon Quick. Again, it's not. This is nothing on Jake at all. He has just he hasn't said anything. Jake hasn't said anything. It's nothing on Jake at all. I can either agree or disagree with what someone else has said. And I'm just saying that it's not that I'm disagreeing with it. I just don't think that it's actually going to happen. That is my own personal opinion. I'd have had the USA flag out if I thought it was happening. Do you know what I mean? It's not saying that it won't happen. And again, I really hope it is. And it isn't. It 100% isn't anything on Jake whatsoever. I've been messaging him this week, absolutely fantastic bloke. Listen to his podcast as well. Watch some of his videos.
Yeah,
absolutely. This isn't anything on Jake whatsoever. And go and follow him, Punkchef 41. I think he is on YouTube. Go and watch his stuff. I just wanted to make that point there.
Yeah, that was the exact point I'm going to say, because it is really difficult. I think being, I've only obviously been doing this for just over a year now, James. You've been here for 4 or 5 years now doing this, and it is really difficult when you're attaching your face to content like that, because you kind of know how it's going to, having been a listener, you know how that's going to be received when people hear it for the first time. I think if we just dealing with the video in isolation and some of the claims that were made and kind of like my initial thoughts and reactions to it, I personally, maybe I'm just too long in the tooth, old, grizzled, spoken to too many people, done too many midweek podcasts. I don't see it. Personal opinion, I don't see it. I understand the logic of somebody having information and them being absolutely convinced they are right on a matter. But again, for me, sadly, maybe it's just I can't see it, if that makes sense. I will say that I am perhaps a little too close to it in the sense that, I don't want to talk about kind of like the amount of time that's given up, obviously, doing these, James, but I like investing so much time into this, effectively having a second job where you are constantly on your phone to people, you're chasing up leads, you're trying to verify a source that has given you something, and then you have to go through 3 or 4 other people to actually verify whether that source is credible or anything like that. Chasing and hounding every contact that you are given, it's really, really difficult, and nobody's heard a peep. People who I know have information surrounding stuff close to the club, they haven't heard a peep surrounding this, and it was a total blindside. Now, I'm not saying that Simon with an I, not a Y, is wrong. I hope he's right. I think from where I am in the situation as somebody who was just reacting to that video, I just sat there and was like, there were too many red flags, and there's been too many things that we've heard from similar types of sources where there is nobody attached to them. It's a name and a voice in this case that haven't necessarily clicked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a comment here from Sai with an I. Maybe my source is from the horse's mouth. I'm not going to get too. We've also had Dearpon Chansiri in the chat as well, so I know how easy it is to quickly make a YouTube, username, and impersonate certain people. So I'm not going to say that is Sai with an I. That is. Can we just call him Simon?
Yeah. Sai with an I, not a Y.
that should be the Twitter username and stuff. But no, like for me as well. He said that he knows people in. He works in football, but not at Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. I did feel like he knew quite a lot about Sheffield Wednesday. He's a Sheffield Wednesday fan as well. Knew a hell of a lot, and a lot of things that again hasn't really come out as well. Which again, I would have thought, Alex and Joe are all over anything that when it comes to Sheffield Wednesday. I thought some of the stuff that had been claimed would have would have come out by them as well. Again, not totally discrediting it all, but I felt like if there's not many jobs in football, is there really, that would know this level of information. I do know certain people that work at the football club, whether that in the shop, at the training ground. There's a few that I know that work there. You hear a few things from them, but they're not going to know they're going to know nothing about the takeover. Same with get a few whispers from a couple of agents and stuff. Again, I don't know how they're going to know about the takeover that's apparently happening. I mean, look, it could be actually from the other side. We're thinking about it close to the club. It might be close to the other side of things and the people that are buying the football club, which obviously we've been close to those people as well, haven't we? That might be where the information is coming from. Maybe we're just looking at it totally the wrong way, and it's nothing to do with Sheffield Wednesday, and it's actually the other side of things. I don't know.
And I think, say for argument's sake, when we were talking about that there, like obviously we had a scheduled interview with Adam Shaw of it was the Shaw Yank Redemption or the Consortium. There was a few, weren't there, that people had come up with.
Yeah.
I understood the logic there of that particular party wanting to talk at that particular time and that particular period. I understood why they wanted to come out and be vocal. It's why ultimately a member of that consortium, John Flanagan, decided to do a BBC Radio Sheffield interview. There was benefit to be had there, because I think had that consortium perhaps presented themselves now in this bidding process, rather than trying to do it, before the summer, which was the window to get it done, in my opinion, you needed to convince the fan base, is the honest answer. Like, I know it feels like a lot has happened and loads of people will go, oh no, I didn't need convincing at that point. Actually think back to it when the season had just ended. There was still a lot of people where it was unraveling. There was news daily, like every couple of hours there was something else coming down. And along came a person potentially with a lot of backing from other people, and you needed to convince people and sway them, because that movement just simply wasn't there. There wasn't the level of vitriol and animosity towards the owner that there is now. I suppose from my perspective here, just on that point there, James, and the reason why I mention all of that is because I'm not entirely sure what there is to be gained now from coming out and saying that a takeover is going to happen in 2 weeks. I understood then what the logic was behind it and what the thinking was behind it of wanting to come out, because there wasn't the public knowledge that is widely available now surrounding the chairman, behind the structure, about the manager. Because remember, at that point, everybody was still thinking Danny Röhl would stay if we got a new owner.
Had we not paid wages at that point? I don't think
1 month. Yeah, that we'd just gone through. We'd just crashed through our second month, because obviously we were late for April, weren't we? And then we were late for May again. Just coming back onto the knowledge of the football club. Yeah, for my money, for what it's worth, which is very little, my personal opinion is that I think it's somebody clearly with insider knowledge at the football club. Whether it's somebody who works in football or not, is somebody who has a connection to somebody in the football club. There are only, I can think of 3 people who would know this is potentially going through. That being the chairman, Amadou Pakshaw, and the club secretary. Those are the 3 people who would know about this scale of a deal. I don't understand why, no disrespect to them.
Maybe a broker as well.
Yeah, a broker, of course, but
and obviously the person buying the football club,
agreed, but they don't work for the football club. And that's what I mean is if the news has come from inside the football club, again, because we know it's such a skeletal structure with inside the football club, there are only 3 people who would know. I know that Alistair, Trevor may get whispers about this going on, but we also know from conversations with people at the football club at that level, they are kept in the dark about a lot of things, and they aren't bothered with it. Day to day, Dejphon Chansiri is not here. The club running day to day is left down to pretty much Amadou Pakshaw, who is the eyes and ears of the chairman, as Simon had said in that video.
I find that mad that someone runs the football club that doesn't actually, is not, to my knowledge, is not actually on the books at Sheffield Wednesday. I might be wrong in that. We might pay him, but I don't think he's kind of salaried by the club. No. He's just there in an advisory role, but
there is evidence that you can find out there to suggest that there is a paycheck coming out for that. But if you are interested, please go and watch the special. Yeah, I think my first question, I suppose, James, from it all was, and again, I really don't want this to come across like I'm digging somebody out. It's because of my level of knowledge of the source of the information when I've spent basically the last 150 days verifying sources. My first question was, who is it? Because is it someone who, yes, is passing information, which again, I agree with the statement that he made within the video, which is effectively knowledge is king. We have always parroted that statement. You can do with the knowledge and the information whatever you would like to do with it. I've spoke to you about it in the week, and I've mentioned it in Discord. I don't mind obviously mentioning it on here. I know of a couple of people who work within football. To give an example, my godfather has been a chief scout at a number of top clubs. He's worked at, I suppose they would now be classed as one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's been the chief scout in youth recruitment there. Somebody who's worked in football for over 30 plus years. When I rang him and said, just a question here. I don't know the levels of role. I don't know anything here. Just, I want your honest opinion. If this were happening, would you know about it? And he said, no, not at all. And I would work at the club. Wouldn't know about it at all. So that, by powers of deduction, and especially how secretive Sheffield Wednesday is, this then does narrow your window down to, if it's somebody who doesn't work at the football club and we take Si on face value of what he's saying, it has to be somebody who is inserted in the middle of the deal, a broker, for either side of it. Yeah. Or it has to be somebody who has done an introduction, if that claim is exact, which again, if it was me, I would think about layers of protecting myself so it didn't necessarily come back to me, because my voice is very distinct and recognisable. Yeah. That is why I personally believe it's somebody with insider knowledge at the football club who has a relationship with somebody at the football club on one of those three different scales, whether it be the owner, whether it be a chairman's advisor, or whether it be the receptionist. Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks' time, whether the club has been taken over. I hope it has. I am so sick and tired of hearing various rumours. This has happened. There's been talks or whatever it may be. I just want the Chancery regime to be over.
Sorry, James. I just wanted to highlight this comment here from Leon Jasmine, saying that Matt Si has already said the horse's mouth. Which horse? Because it's either Chancery or it's the buyer. It's one of the two. There's two horses that this can come from. There's not just one horse that this comes from. There's two. And in the case of somebody saying that they work within football, that must mean that it must be from the buyer, so they're involved in the deal, which again, when you then go back to stuff to do with NDAs, I mean, if you haven't been made to sign one, that is crackers behaviour from somebody who is buying the football club surrounding this level of interest in a deal. I'm just, again, I honestly, I really, really hope I'm wrong, but it's just I don't have enough information to be able to say that I would fully 100% back statements that are said.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll just have to see. John says, does the barmaid not know? Daniel says, Doris the tea lady knows everything.
She's got to fucking know.
Doris the tea lady is the most famous Sheffield Wednesday fan or member of staff that there never has been. She's absolutely everywhere. I mean, if you'd have asked me last week whether the football club's going to be sold or not, I would have said, well, absolutely not. I think he's hanging on. This is all cast. I don't know what to believe now. It has cast doubt in my mind, because I'm like, surely there must be there's got to be some reason for all this coming out. You know what I mean? It's not just for shits and giggles. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a bold statement to make. So, but just kind of my opinion, going back to before we heard all of this, I've said it on the debate show a few times. I just feel that Dapon Chancery is just trying to get the football club to a point where it is, where the EFL are off his back. So which I suppose gets it to a point where it is sustainable, and either he can afford it or the club just runs by itself with the income that's coming in. I think I think that's why the boycott and things is very, very important, because he's using that to run the club. Like this is the irony of it all is this is actually what as a football fan you would want of your football club. You would want your football club to be run sustainable. However, the way that you don't want it to be done is just by getting rid of absolutely everyone that either works at the football club or plays for the football club in order to actually do that, and playing with effectively the under-21s. I know we're not quite there yet, but we could be next season. That's not really
sustainably. What more do you want?
I know that is the irony in all of this, but that is my worry, that we aren't going to do that, and then the future of where Sheffield Wednesday are going to play is absolutely totally up in the air, because are we then going to be good enough to stay in League One? If the inevitable happens and we do get relegated this season, or is that squad then going to stay up in League One, or do players then start coming in at that point? Can we then afford them? Is it suddenly going to start changing? Are people not going to boycott the games and they are going to turn up, and it is going to be just okay then at that point? Have we just given up the ghost? Like, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of question marks over the future of the football club, and it does all hinge on the one person that you don't really want it to be hinging on, which is Depon Chansiri. He kind of holds all the cards, like in terms of the direction that Sheffield Wednesday going from here. And like I said, up until last week, I was almost resigned to the fact that I think he's just going to try and carry on and actually not sell the football club.
I would agree to a point, James, in terms of I think he holds the majority of the cards, but I think as supporters, there are lots, and players as well, and staff, there are still lots of opportunities to play other hands here. In terms of, say for argument's sake, we mentioned it right at the top, season tickets. If, let's say, 17,000 estimate this year, 7,000 don't renew, you won't be able to cover the wages for next year. Straight off the bat, which is what you have, as the Trust had proved in their PowerPoint with the original Worsley Bridge meeting. That is what has been funding this football club, is us as supporters. Yes, the chairman has put substantial figures in, but that was right at the start. Since then, the supporters have actually outstripped him in terms of investment into this football club. So now, don't buy all of the shit of, you do nothing to help me, the supporters' money means absolutely nothing to me. It's the biggest lie going. We disappear, so does, nicest will in the world, his ability to pay and meet wages. He is struggling at the minute. He is massively struggling. The boycott from every single person who should know on this, the boycott of stuff to do with tickets, the boycott of cup games, the boycott of all of the stuff to do with concessions on the concourse, is massively hurting him. Massively hurting. Shirts, sales, merchandise, all of the stuff that Sheffield Wednesday fans have gone fucking mental for in the past. That's all stopped this year. And he's already spent the money for this season. So when he rolls round, comes out with his hand out begging next year, and as you said, James, I think push come to shove, yes, I mean, we openly spoke about it on Extra Time last week. I am in a position where, because of my banking app, Monzo, for anybody who hasn't got Monzo, it's great because they do loads of little stuff like this. At the start of the year, they said, do a penny a day challenge, and it goes up. So first day's 1p, next day's 2p, all the way through to £3.65 by the end of it. But by the end of the year, you've built up a pot of £700. Now you can lock it, or you can open it up and you can withdraw. Now I locked mine right at the start of the year because I was just like, right, I just need to stop thinking about that. Why? Because that's my season ticket money. That is my season ticket money. This was this time, February last year. Now I am thankfully in a position where I am fortunate enough to hold out and wait right until the end. But if this owner is still here, I do not want to do this. I do not want to lose the seat. I do not want to lose the Saturdays with my dad. I do not want to lose the community of people that I see every week at football. I don't want to lose the community of people that I see at away games. That would break my heart more than watching 90 minutes of 22 grown blokes running around kicking a bag of wind. The emotions that are attached to it, the people that we see, that would hurt me far more than going and watching, again, players on a football pitch, because the football's not going to be stellar regardless next season of whoever is owning us. I wouldn't buy one, I don't think. If you ask me now, guns to my head now, I wouldn't buy one. I would not buy one. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who are in a similar position. There are going to be some people who just say, no, it's my life, I'm going. And that shouldn't be held against them. There shouldn't be put, torches and pitchforks out, because whilst You mentioned the Reading protests, Blackpool. There were still people who went. There were still people who turned up to games. Why? Because they can't imagine their life without it, and they can't physically. The whole purpose. I'm very fortunate to be in a position that yes, Sheffield Wednesday is a huge, massive ruling factor in my life. But actually, it isn't the be-all and end-all. And if push comes to shove, I have to stand for something. It would be incredibly hypocritical of me to have done podcasts from February with Simon with a Y, not an I, and gone, do you know what? He's fucking shit as an owner, him, and presented information, and me and you have sat in here and ranted and raved and asked for all of this shit. If I then turn around and just went, oh yeah, I've got my ticket though for next year. Ooh.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's tearing me apart as well, and that's why I said last week I'm kind of 50-50 on the fence. I think actually, because I've since saying that last week, I've been thinking about it quite a lot, and I've been thinking actually, you know what? You're right. You said that word hypocritical, and it would be again massively hypocritical on my part if it just done just that, and then just parted with what would have been what this year was £570 of the hard-earned cash, and just gone, yeah, here you go. Because I want to keep I want to keep coming to the football, but just because and I mean the big worry as well for me, looking at the bigger picture, is like, again, everyone listening to this. You've got to be a hard-earned Sheffield Wednesday fan, because why would you watch a podcast of two blokes chatting shit about football, about your football club if you weren't? There's a lot of casual football fans, and there's even casual season ticket holders. They might have been well into it at the time, but as things have gone on, he's just a force of habit. And as you mentioned, the people go because they meet the mates and stuff. Now the conversations between now and when the season tickets come out for renewal, the conversations will be, are you getting one next season? Like, it's not like everyone else gets one and you choose not to, and then you miss out seeing them people. What it might be is collectively as a group, they might be like, no, what? Yeah, we'll still go to the boozer, but we're not actually going to buy a seat. We'll do something else. We don't have to come to this one. We can go to a boozer where near where we live, because that's like if you're living in that same area, or they might choose to do something else. And then actually, when it comes to the point where the club is sold, and they move on, if it hasn't already been sold by the time the season tickets come out, it's then they might think, you know what, I've managed to get my football fixed by just watching it on the telly, because there are now means of doing that, that they weren't perhaps 10, 15, 20 years ago, and actually I'm all right at that. So then now the football club has lost that season ticket holder. They're not, they might buy a couple of tickets and go to the odd patch. But it's the opposite of what you want to happen. You're losing, almost losing a fan. And there'll be some people that will just fall out of love with Sheffield Wednesday. They will have already fallen out of love with Sheffield Wednesday already at this point. Like, they used to go, and now they've had enough. They can't be arsed, and they're doing something else with the time. Again, not everyone is at the same level of fandom as what you are. You might be up here, home and away, like yourself, home and away, have done for however long, even bought the third shirt last season. And you're well up there. you're right up here. But there's some that even higher than what you are. They do, buy. Oh yeah, they've got every shirt. Home, away, third shirts from every single season. They've got the programs. They've bought absolutely. They are fully invested. But then there's others, like I said, that aren't at that level, and they are casual. And then not only that, I mean, who's if your lad says, not your lad, but someone who's not a football fan, and they've gone to school started, they've got some new mates, and they're all talking about football, and they want to go to a football match, and you're like, right, I'm going to take little Jimmy to a football game. You are not picking Sheffield Wednesday, not a cat and else chance. You're just going to go then down the road. I mean, a better one would probably be a Hallam or a Sheffield FC, but they probably don't really know about them football clubs.
No.
And
there's no nicest will in the world when you're trying to rope in a young child to it. It's the glitz and the glamour and it's the shit around the football that actually attracts them to it first. It's not the actual game. Like, that's great, but they don't want to see, a tactical 3-5-2 setup. They're looking at it and going, what's he celebrating? Hey, James's camera's gone. My goodness me, we have gone for a while with this not happening, haven't we, mate?
Yes, mate. I have no idea what we're doing.
He's still there. Sorry, I know because Sai and Jake are in the chat, but there's a joke in here about you're going to announce something here now, James. Your camera's gone off. There is a joke in here about it. I'm not going to make it, but it would be a perfect and peak opportunity to do so.
Do you know what? As well, I've no idea what I'm going to do here because I've not got the other. I'm going to have to go on my laptop here and just gonna segue over. I've no idea.
Make sure you close all them other tabs that you've got open on the browser, mate. That's all I'll say.
This is absolute amateur hour, isn't it? Yeah. But,
oh no, he's still not here. Whoa. No, now we've got some feedback as well going on. Oh, James, I tell you what, this is stellar. For anybody who is just listening to this, please can I ask, because now everybody's got a nice view of my airdryer in the back, can I please just say, anybody who is listening to this, please just skip forward to, I would say, 84, 83 minutes to just watch James Mappin, who is the most technically sound person I have seen with computers, to the shambles that has just happened in the last 80 minutes. And he's still got an echo going on.
Why is there an echo?
Oh my goodness, mate. Someone's Alex Smith in the chat, low res. Mark Hayes, DC has cancelled James, you'll be next, Matt. Oh my God, Steve BDI Smith, 50p in the meter, anyone? John Gurnhill looking for a quid.
Is there still an echo?
No, I mean, I will say, James, it sounds like the audio quality from the Wrexham preview show currently, but we can hear you.
Well, that's look. At least there's been a laugh in the comments.
I'm also going to just pull up this one from Nat. The podcast setup is on par with the Microsoft Word art on our shirts, and then Matt Tolbert, he's come back but with more hair. There's some fucking belters here.
They're in the bin. This is. I could put this here and pretend it's coming out of this, but it actually isn't. You know.
That drop off in quality for somebody who is Leon again. James is changing outfits. The drop off in audio quality, James, for somebody who prides himself on making sure that the audio quality is seamless every time is just spectacular. Chef's kiss.
Steve said, "Can you swap sides, please? This is weird." We've got Nat that says, "Swap sides. It's Ant and Deck, not Deck and Ant."
Oh man.
Punk Chef, you sound like my old underwater phone. Yeah.
Noel Clover, ask if Man United will pay for the internet.
Matt says I look 10 years older. Oh my, this is, look, I'm glad it's happened on 1 hour and 25 minutes and not on the first 5 or 10 minutes. So there is a positive to all that in the really, but
yeah, absolutely.
Joe, I think I need what Dapon Chansiri hasn't got, and that is a contingency plan for whenever problems happen like this. So
I think there's that, James. I think if you could also just do everybody a favour and just upload to the X account just your desk setup, because for people who haven't seen how much tech is on this man's desk to make sure that this show runs as mine is a very janky setup. Mine has got a box full of Lego that my son plays with my laptop propped up, a ring light and a microphone. Very easy. Please, James, just post a picture of your setup just so people can see the lengths you've gone to. And it's taken one camera. Oh, there we are. So we've got Stream Deck, we've got a Word, we've got an auto cue, we've got another script, we've got so many things going on.
Liam says this bit needs clipping out. No, it's not. It's staying in. We do no editing on this podcast. We cannot be called out for removing parts that should have been in there. It's staying in. Right, I think we're going to leave things there. I'm going to sort things out, and we're going to move on. We haven't even talked about Bristol City at home next week.
3-1 Bristol City. There you go.
I agree on that one. No, we are going to be heading over to extra time. It might be in about 15 or 20 minutes time once I've managed to sort all this out. But we are going to be talking about the Danny Röhl interview that was in the Times earlier on, and also about kind of, he's been linked with the Sheffield United job as well. We're going to be talking about that, and also whether this kind of short-term pain is for long-term gain or not. We're going to be talking about that. But no, look, I'm glad we've had a giggle. I'm glad everyone's had a laugh at my expense. I was panicking. Is I think the word you need to use there.
Yeah, I think, again, this is just so nice, just having better audio quality for somebody who frequently forgets to turn on his microphone before we record. It's, again, James, this is, I mean this really nicely. This kind of like, we were talking just before all of this carnage happened. We were talking about a really, really serious and deep topic about kind of like the ins and outs and the minutiae of kind of what it would mean as a Sheffield Wednesday fan to not go to the game. This, I think, is the biggest credit of Sheffield Wednesday fans as James looks for a jumping out the window. I think this is the biggest credit of Sheffield Wednesday fans, is that actually through all of this shit, we are still finding a way to smile about things. And I know it's something so stupid as a podcast, but actually it is just absolutely ridiculous and abhorrent. But the amount of times that, like, at games this year, I've still seen people like smiling and laughing and chuckling when it would be really easy to get really downbeat about everything, I think is, again, we said it a number of times before, the thing that makes this football club, I think it was Steve Bracknell who said it on a podcast this week, it's not the badge, it's not the stadium, it's not the players, it's not the manager. I
starred the comment from earlier. Yeah, Jordan said.
Do you want me to
Sheffield
do it
Wednesday...
just for the audio purposes, James? Jordan Smith, Sheffield Wednesday is not the stadium, it's not the kit, it's not the players, it's not the owner, it's the community. We have to remember that. Not my words, Steve Bracknell's. That was from Jordan Smith. Jordan, I did see it earlier. Thank you so much for flagging that.
Yeah, no problem. Right, let's wrap things up. I'll see you over on Extra Time with better audio as well, may I add. So I will get this sorted. But no, we'll see you over there. Thanks everyone for tuning in. As always, do really appreciate it. I think Liam said no, he means clipping it for the socials. I probably will do that.
Yeah, 100%.
I definitely will for some more giggles. But no, thanks everyone for joining. Do really appreciate it. We'll be on Extra Time in 5 or 10 minutes or so. We'll also be back with the debate show on Wednesday. Some of the members of the trust will be joining as well, talking about their plans moving forward. But no, thank you very much, and we'll get back to the better audio. Cheers, guys.